Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be discussing you the week that was in pro wrestling. Well, that's going to be NWA Power, their part of their Samhain tapings, and AEW Dynamite, the go home to the Maximum Carnage episode, which that's going to be a fun one. And a little later on, going to have a little announcement about a re-addition to the show that I haven't done in a while. Stay tuned for that. But let's get into this one, taking as we review NWA Power Samhain Part 3. And we start off pretty much right in the middle of a match, which honestly, that always gets me because I don't always know who's wrestling. I know they do advertise it beforehand, but sometimes, Noodle doesn't always work right. But we got it started with Damian Fenrir, who has been a little bit of an MVP for the NWA lately, taking on former United States Tag Team Champion Kerry Morton. And this match was maybe not even surprisingly good. It was very, very good. Kerry Morton trying to slow Fenrir down pretty much at all times. Fenrir even blocked a kiss it goodbye attempt about middle of the match. Goes for a big powerbomb. Kerry Morton blocks it into a big knee. Morton then with a snap power slam, which that's always impressive. Fenrir then attempts a one-winged angel, or what I can only assume is a one-winged angel. Kerry rolls him up from the seated position on his shoulders for a 2 count. Attempts the kiss it goodbye once again, misses. Fenrir with a roll-up attempt for a 2. Then Kerry Morton with a showstopper, which we haven't seen that in a while, to pick up the win. And then post-match, something very, very interesting. Kerry gets on one knee, helps Fenrir up, attempts to shake his hand. Fenrir denies him and bails out. So, I'm not sure if this is a full face turn for Kerry Morton, but this is definitely at least a first step to get him there, which I definitely appreciate. As much as I love the Southern Six as a crew, I think it's definitely time to let them go off on their own adventures, as it were. Anyway, after that, we go backstage. We see the Drakes, the Slime Balls, and Aaron Stevens. They're all lined up in a row, with Stevens saying, "Tonight, this team faces a bunch of monsters. Who are they? It's Misery, Gags, and Lev. Let me tell you something. We're going to put you where you belong. In that shallow grave of a casket. And you can't beat us." So a nice, short, sweet promo to hype up this upcoming casket match. Which, that's going to be interesting. Then we go to Worthwhile Estates. Which, honestly, it's someone's mansion. I don't know whose. It's the Page family, including their father, and then the Slime Balls for whatever reason. They're still doing this, generous benefactor story that I have no idea where it's going. And Kenzie saying, "Oh, we're not getting any money. This is we're all just being worked." And then her father says, Oh, look, if we're being worked, that's fine. But if we're not, we're getting a ton of money. Then you see the slime balls' faces light up. And they start talking about, what they do with the money. And then apparently the slime balls want to split it evenly. So, it was definitely a weird segment, but I guess we're getting to the finale of this story, in which I don't know who it's going to be, who's going to have this money. But I got a weird feeling it's going to be a Vince Russo level swerve. Anyway, go to a different part of the arena. We got Tom Latimer cutting a promo. And I gotta tell you, I am loving this version of Tom Latimer. Wasn't his biggest fan in TNA, but here he kind of fits in way better. Anyway, he says, it's a brand new year, brand new start. Thrillbilly, I let the title slip. You beat me, but I still lost. For now, he is the champ, but that lit a fire in my guts. I want it back. Thrillbilly, your time is up. I want my title back. Great little promo. Cannot wait to see that rematch. Although I am not sure how that finish is going to work. Because, Thrillbilly just got the title and I kind of been loving it because he's been really good. But then Latimer was also a really good champion. So, we'll see how it goes. Next up, kind of a showcase match, but also kind of not, as we got Big Strong Mims, the former national champion, taking it out on El Dragon Nihon. If you don't remember him, he challenged Tom Latimer for the world title before losing it to Thrillbilly. And what was a kind of decent squash match. This match was the definition of a hoss fight. Like, these two looked like a couple of elephants butting heads. I don't know if elephants do that, but, they looked like a couple wild animals just going at it. And honestly, this was a big surprise. After a whiff on an elbow by Mims, a big spear for a 2 count, then a super kick, a power bomb, with your winner being El Dragon Nihon. So, I would have liked to think they would give Mims the opportunity to maybe get in the world title picture, but I guess he's not quite there yet, but honestly, I think he is, but whatever. Hopefully this is just a bump in the road, and we see him get to that next level sooner rather than later. Then we get a kind of in a random hallway promo from the Country Gentlemen. Initially, it was just Casey and AJ talking about how they wanted to hurt the Page family next week. And then Joe Kazana walks in saying, that's not up for debate. We're going to show them who we are next week. We're going to go out there and beat Pretty Empowered. And when all is said and done, it'll be all by the book. So, yeah, it looks like we are getting... I'm going to be saying hopefully close to the end of this territory warfare. Although it is nice seeing Kenzie Page, at least for now, away from the title picture. So, this could be interesting. Then we get a promo from the Holy Grail. No real showing from Pastor CeeLo, so it's just EC3 and Pretty Boy Smooth here. Actually, no, Pastor CeeLo is there. He gets the first line saying, "What does the good book say about false idols?" So EC3 answers, "If it's not me, it's not for me." And Stevens, "We know you'll be ringside for our match. If you mess with this match, I'm going to snuff you out." So definitely some fighting words from the Holy Grail, who apparently got a United States Tag Team title match, which is weird. But yeah, I guess this is going to be EC3's last showing in the NWA. His contract expired, so right now EC3 is a free agent, which that could get interesting. So next we go back to Worthwhile Estates. Everyone's just arguing with each other about this money. And then we hear the Page sisters' father say to the Slime Balls, "I'm going to send you both to an island you won't return from." And the Slime Balls are like, "Oh, yeah, thanks. We need a vacation." Those two are a piece of work. And then, yeah, that's just the end of the segment. I'm not sure where they're going with this. Again, either it's going to be, oh, someone's family member died and they're leaving money to the company, or it's going to be a massive swerve and it's going to be like Aaron Stevens and he needs them to do something for him. I don't know. It's a little weird. So next up, we got a trios casket match, where the winner of the match has to take one of their opponents, put him into the casket at the top of the ramp, and close the lid. Not complicated at all. So on team number 1, we got the Lost. So it's Lev, I know, bit of a weird name, Alex Misery, and Gags the Gimp. So no real look out from Crazy Steve, who I thought would be all about this, taking on Carson and Lockjaw Drake, along with Aaron Stevens. So they're all lined up in the ring. They're ready for a fight. Stevens, right at the bell, rolls out of the ring, hightails it to the back. And we'll get to that in a second. So the Lost immediately have an advantage, and they take full advantage. Just going 3-on-2 on the Drakes. Eventually, Stevens does come back. He goes for the loaded glove shot. He misses. But then these druids come out. Like Undertaker level druids. Come out, start beating up the Lost for whatever reason. So, druids and I think Stevens then drag Alex Misery to the casket. Casket opens, tosses him in, goes to close it, but Misery stops the lid from closing all the way. Stevens is celebrating like he just won the World Series. And Misery just starts beating the heck out of him. Hitting a big old curb stomp on Stevens. The Lost then get their opponents back into the ring, start beating them down again. Then back out comes the Druids. The Lost initially fight him off, but the numbers are too great. Alex Misery goes for a big dive. Lockjaw then catches him, slams him right into the ring post. Then Carson Drake on the outside, dragging Lev to the casket, locks in a sleeper to put Lev out, puts Lev in the casket, goes to close the lid. Carson starts doing his stupid dance. Lev then stops the casket from closing. Gets out. And then Gags, who somehow got the loaded glove from Aaron Stevens, hits Carson Drake with it. Lev with a super kick and an elbow. Puts Aaron Stevens in the casket, closes it fully, and your winners are the Lost. So, I'm gonna say this. This was a weird little match. I guess it was by design, because it's the Lost. They're weird. But I'm also gonna say this. I think this was a well done casket match. We'll see what comes of it in the coming weeks. Yeah, overall, maybe not the best casket match I've ever seen, but definitely one of the more chaotic ones, which, honestly, that's probably not a bad thing. Next up, we go a little back-to-back promos. To start off, Wrecking Ball Legursky, which it has been a while since I've seen Wrecking Ball. He looks like he's in great shape. And he screams like Hulk Hogan style. A lot of people are calling me the underdog in this match. I'm going to overcome and dominate it. I'm going to win gold. And all will fall to the Wrecking Ball. He does put some patriotic spin on his promo, which I guess he's now America's favorite wrestler, which is funny. But yeah, I guess they're leaning into that gimmick. And then we get a promo from Alex Hammerstone, which always good to see that man. Says, next week it's going to be me taking on Trevor Murdoch, a real veteran of the business. I'd be a fool to look past him. But ever since I came here, everyone's been saying I'm going to be the next world champion. If they want to talk, I'll listen. Next week, Trevor, you're just another rung on the ladder I'm taking to the top of the NWA. I'm going to say this. I loved that Hammerstone promo. And now I'm really looking forward to that match, because that match is going to be freaking good. Because despite what you think, Trevor Murdoch is actually a really, really good wrestler. And this is going to be a hoss fight and a half. If that makes any sense to anybody. And then we get our main event for Power, as we got the national title on the line, as Mike Mondo takes on Wrecking Ball Legursky. And Mondo, right off the bat, big old drop kick to Wrecking Ball, strikes in the corner. Wrecking Ball turns around, gets his own strikes in, peels Mike Mondo across the ring. Big old splash. Mondo comes back with a jawbreaker and then a bite, which I don't know if that's quite legal, but still. Mondo appears to attempt a chokeslam that gets blocked. Wrecking Ball counters with a clothesline for a 2 count. Mondo at that point locks Wrecking Ball in with a sleeper hold. But Wrecking Ball completely powers out of it. At that point, Mike Mondo attempts gut check time. But Big Man is way too big. Wrecking Ball then counters with some shoulder tackles, a splash, a hip attack, and the big splash, which is like a kind of swan dive on the mat. But that only gets a 2. Again, Mondo goes for gut check time. That gets blocked. Shit. Into a big body slam, a big power slam for a 2 count. Wrecking Ball then goes for hits a diving headbutt for a 2. Then Mondo locks in another sleeper hold. Wrecking Ball powers out. It's a big superplex. That actually gets countered into an eye rake and then a power bomb from the middle rope for your winner and still national champion, Mike Mondo. Honestly, that main event was really interesting. A really good clash of styles. But it really got the point across that Wrecking Ball is a pretty serious competitor when he wants to be. And you should not be overlooking him. So, overall, pretty dang good episode of NWA Power. I'd say match to watch. If you're looking for a bit more chaos than just a good wrestling match, I'd say the casket match is one to watch. Because that is pretty much chaos incarnate. So that's Power. We now go to AEW Dynamite. Again, the go home to the Maximum Carnage special this coming week. And we start off with the hometown boy, good old Jim Ross, rejoining commentary. Always good to see him. And considering he was in Oklahoma, you got the big hometown pop. And that's always great to see. Always great to see you, JR. Boomer Suiter. All that. Then we get a little card rundown before we get revealed that before their trios match, along with Jack Barry, Jet Speed actually got attacked backstage. So Renee Paquette's trying to get some more information. Ricochet and the Demand walk in, says, "Look, our agreement has been fulfilled." That's when Don Callis walks up. He says, Jet Speed got taken out by someone? Or maybe something. In which, I see where he's going here. In walks Mark Davis and his new tag partner, Jake Something. If you don't know who he is, he worked in TNA for a bit. Is one of the most intense wrestlers I've ever seen. And it's a shame that he left TNA. He's all over the advertising for the move to AMC. So this was a bit of a surprise. Although in AEW he's not Jake Something, he's Jake Dryer. Which is very interesting name. So we see Dryer come in, rip his shirt off Hulk Hogan style, and they say, "We know who's paying." So it looks like we're going to get a follow-up with them. I'm going to say this. We got plenty of stuff for Will Ospreay. Kyle Fletcher is very much a future world champion. A lot of people forget about Mark Davis. And while I'm a little sad we won't be seeing the reuniting of Aussie Open, who is a fantastic tag team. Jake something and Mark Davis are probably going to be an interesting team. So let's get that out of the way. First match up. And yeah, that segment took a little while. But we got a Continental title eliminator match. Basically that means whoever pins the champion gets a future title shot. So we got Jon Moxley taking on Shelton Benjamin. Call me crazy, I don't think these two have ever wrestled one-on-one. So that's, this is definitely interesting. Like, at first it was a little feeling out process. Moxley going for the straight sleeper while Benjamin breaks out, locking in an ankle lock, which I love that Shelton Benjamin's using that move. An homage to, honestly, one of the best pure wrestlers of all time, Kurt Angle. They go back and forth for a little bit, tossing each other into barricades. One point, Benjamin suplexes Moxley into the ring steps, which that looked like that hurt. They make it back into the ring. Moxley locks in an armbar, but Benjamin fights out. Hitting a couple of clotheslines, then a superplex. Moxley comes back with an eye poke, big splash. Goes for the sleeper again, that gets blocked. Benjamin... Honestly, this was a weird thing by Benjamin, because he does go for an enziguri, but Moxley is like this far away from him. So he kind of whiffs a little, but Moxley kind of sells it a little bit too. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, Moxley attempts a pile driver. That gets blocked. They trade suplexes for a while. And Moxley with the 8 cutter for a 2 count. At that point, we get the 5-minute warning. Uh-oh. They trade strikes for a little bit. Benjamin with a low blow into a power bomb. Only for a 2 count. Moxley locks in a crossface, but Benjamin gets into the ropes. Little low bridge by Moxley into a dive. Get back in. Moxley attempts the King Kong clothesline. Benjamin catches it into a flatliner for a 2 count. Moxley with a bell ringer. Attempts a crossbody, whiffs. Benjamin counters with a kick and then a super kick for a 2 count. Benjamin goes for the kick combo again. Moxley catches it. Hits the paradigm shift for a 2 count. Locks in the bulldog choke. Benjamin fights out. We get our 1-minute warning. And that's where things just pick up for a little bit. Benjamin locks in a triangle choke, but then Moxley gets himself into position to roll Benjamin up for the win, pretty much right at the bell. And yeah, that was a great match. If there's a match to watch on these shows, this is it. This is the one. That was a great match. Hopefully they run it back one day. But yeah, I am more than satisfied with that encounter. Post-match, Moxley walks up to Benjamin, who's a little distraught. Moxley extends his hand. Benjamin reciprocates. So, definitely a nice nice bit of sportsmanship Let's see if the rest of the Death Riders agree with this sentiment. So next, we go backstage. We see Darby Allin. He's frantically looking for Pac. We'll get to that in a minute. First, we get a couple of highlight video from this past Wrestle Kingdom, where we saw Hiroshi Tanahashi take on Kazuchika Okada in Tanahashi's last match, which, thank you, Go Ace. Always a delight to watch. And then we get an MJF versus Kenny Omega hype video, which I'm not sure, 100% sure when we're going to see this match. But boy, that is going to be a pay-per-view match. How do I know? I saw them wrestle once, and it was beautiful. Anyway, next match up. We got a trios match as the Demand, so that's Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Liona, take on Jack Perry and a pair of mystery partners. And as Perry's coming out, stops at the top of the ramp, looks back for a second, and we hear a very familiar riff. Super kick party! As soon as that hit, the Young Bucks came out. Not the corporate Bucks, not the down on their luck Bucks, the Young Bucks. Tassels and all. And the crowd went absolutely crazy. This was a great return, I guess. Anyway, Perry and the Bucks look at each other, make a beeline into the ring, and they just start brawling with the Demand. Khan, Leona, and the Bucks make it to the outside. So on the inside, it's just Perry and Ricochet. At that point, the bell rings. We get a spear from Jack Perry, which that was insane. Bucks and Jack Perry dealing out the super kicks. One point we see Bishop Khan lock in a tarantula, which you don't see that every day. They have a nice little back and forth. Then we get a Swanton elbow drop combination from the Bucks. Jack Perry with a destroyer into a moonsault, into a stomp, into a powerbomb for a 2 count. Eventually, Ricochet does get in, hits a 450, only for a 2. Goes for vertigo, that gets blocked into a suplex, and then a brainbuster. Young Bucks with the super kicks to DOA. Ricochet attempts a Death Valley driver, that gets blocked into a Rana. Bunch of super kicks, left, right, and center. Bucks and Perry then pull off a Doomsday device. Level move. Bucks hit the BTE trigger. Jack Perry then with a sort of Busaiku knee, which is interesting for Jack Perry and the Bucks to pick up the win. So that match was just absolute chaotic, but it was a great return for the Young Bucks. But they aren't allowed to celebrate it too long, because Doyle and Davis, that's what I'm going to call this tag team from now on, come out, attack the Young Bucks post-match. At that point, you see Jet Speed. They're all taped up. They're clearly hurt a little. But they brought out some weaponry, and they try to make the save. At that point, the lights go out. And who appears in the ring, making their grand return to AEW? It's Andrade. Now, I know what you're thinking. Anyway, before that, I get into that. Callis family then take out Jet Speed. Then that brings out FTR on the stage. They hold up their titles. And, yeah, we'll see what goes from there. So it does look like the first rivalry match for Davis and Doyle are going to be Jet Speed, maybe the Young Bucks as well. But yeah, I'm definitely all for it. I'm ready to go. And honestly, I'm going to say this. I hope this is Andrade's gimmick from now on. Because the last time he did this, apparently he had a 2-year non-compete clause in his contract when he left WWE. But apparently he got that figured out with help from Roosh. And now that's all taken care of. And he's now back in AEW. Which, I'm going to tell you, that's going to be interesting. Don Callis family has way too many members, man. This is going to be a cluster real fast. And then we get this interesting celebration. The TBS title celebration of Willow Nightingale. And she comes out not only with Harley Cameron, but with Chris Statlander as well. So they get to the ring. In it is a weird normal table. And it's just covered in sweets. So like candies, cake. I think there's a pie on that table somewhere too. But then something weird, very weird happens. The lights kind of flicker. And then there's like no light in the ring. But there's like little lights on the outside. Which I'm going to chalk that up to technical difficulties. Over that's exactly what they wanted to do. But then nothing really changed. It just kind of stayed that way throughout this segment. So anyway, Willow gets on the microphone and says, I'm feeling complete now. This is the first stop of the Willow 2 Belts tour. Now the real work begins. I'm going to take the good moments with the bad. I'm here with Harley and my best friend Statlander. We're going to have a great time. And you know your girl loves cake. In which there was a little cake chant going in the crowd. Oklahoma, I see you. Willow continues. While I do love to fight, I'm going to get that cake. I'm going to talk to all challengers who want a shot at either the TBS or the tag titles. I love to fight. I want to fight. I'll do 2 fights in one night if I have to. But I know someone in the back who really wants to come crash the party. I'm going to invite anyone to come out. But I specifically want Mercedes Moné to come join us. So, we have a beat. Mercedes music hits. But she's not her usual bubbly self. She's clad in all white and a veil down. So it's kind of funeral-esque, but it's more white. Which, that looked interesting. So Mercedes saunters down to the ring. She gets in the ring. And Willow says to her, always so fashionable. Moné, you had an unstoppable 2025. You've been raking up those titles like mad. But because of you, I had to dig deep to win this. So let's cut that cake and have some fun. And as, the baby faces are getting the cake, Mercedes takes off her veil and just starts yelling bloody murder. Like she's just feral at this point. She goes over to the table with the sweets, flips it. She takes the microphone from Renee and just slams it down, all the while screaming. Then she sees Willow. She goes after her. Willow sidesteps her right into Harley Cameron, who's holding the big cake. Mercedes then falls face first into it. And, that was something. And as she's face down in the cake, Renee, Willow, Statlander, and Harley all start doing a conga line in the back. Honestly, the crash out of Mercedes Moné has been so much fun to watch. I'm interested on seeing how she recovers, because that's going to be a little while. Even though she still has like 8 belts left in her collection. So, here's my only issue with this segment. And it's something, I don't know, it's something I've kind of had an issue with AEW lately. They've been pushing more of the TBS division over their main women's division. If that makes any sort of sense. And look, I get it. This is meant to be a big deal for Willow. She's making history. But it feels like Statlander's been pushed to the background. And that shouldn't be. She is a main character and deserves her own time and her own feud. Anyway, then we get a highlight from Commander versus Hensha Zero on Collision, in which the winner gets a future TNT title match. Which I am sorry I missed that match. That sounds awesome. Anyway, then we go backstage to a Mark Briscoe promo. He is on his farm. He's not backstage at all, which is interesting. So he says, shout out to Willow. But I've been TNT champ since November. I've been enjoying the Continental Classic. I had my time to heal. I'm feeling good, but mentally I'm not all there. I got an itch that needs scratching, and I'm tickled to hear Hensha Zero is my next target. So on Saturday, on Collision, it's going to be me versus Hensha Zero for the title. And the title isn't going to go anywhere. And my not just word of the day, but phrase of the day, reign and defend. And honestly, an intense, serious Mark Briscoe. Ooh, Hensha Zero, you should be a little scared. Because you're about to get one of them boys in your face. I don't know how to finish that segment, but I have been loving Mark Briscoe's promos lately. It has been focused, serious, and he's ready to kick some butt. So then we go to, I don't know, I'm going to say the Triangle Stairs, because that's where they've been, with the Triangle of Madness. So that's Sky Blue, Julia Hart, and Thekla, with Thekla taking the lead on this promo, saying, Willow, are you really this insecure? Reunite with someone you absolutely hate. You and your friends. So how about this? Why don't you bring your friends so you can face my... Well, we're not quite friends. We're sisters. So come on, friends. Let's get toxic. So an interesting trios match that's probably going to set us up for either TBS title feud or women's title feud. And then also, I'm going to say this. Get the Sisters of Sin in the tag team title hunt immediately. Also, that's kind of one of my other issues with these shows. Thekla and the Triangle of Madness have kind of just been sidelined for a bit. Like, they're cutting interesting promos, which is great. But they need something with a little bit more substance. Like, it doesn't even have to be a match. Give me, backstage attacks. Give me them, spray painting Willow's car or something. Just something with a little bit, which builds up the feud a little bit more. All I'm asking. Anyway, then we get this really interesting match. We got Sammy Guevara, who we haven't seen on AEW TV in, I think, about a year, maybe more, taking on Bandito. And I'm gonna say this. This was a very way too fast match, if you can believe that. Like, it started off really, really well, feeling each other out, countering each other's moves. At one point, you saw Sammy go out into the crowd a little, take someone's water bottle, take a sip, spit it into Bandito's face, then hit a beautiful springboard DDT, gets him back in, hits him with some kicks and some chops. Bandito counters with an uppercut, a crossbody, hits him with the one-handed military press slam. But then Sammy with a monkey flip, a shooting star press, goes for the TKH, which is interesting name for a finish. That gets blocked. Bandito with a roll-up for a 2 count. Sammy with a kick, hitting a cutter, only getting a 2. Sammy attempts the GTH, got that first one wrong. That gets blocked. Bandito with a cutter. Attempting the 21 plex, but that gets blocked. Attempting the Sammy with a knee, and then a DDT for a 2 count. Sammy attempts a kick, that gets caught. Bandito with an X knee, and then a 21 plex for the win. And honestly, this was just a showcase for Bandito. Hopefully Sammy Guevara doesn't go away, because he's extremely underrated. But then at that point, out comes MJF, and he is being led to the ring by I forget, it's not John Silver, it's John something. I forget the dude's name. He's the dude who accompanies him in CMLL, and he's wearing, Uncle Sam outfit or something. Anyway, so MJF comes out. He says, "My God, that was one heck of a match. You are one talented luchador. But if you know anything about Lucha Libre, you know I'm a former CMLL World Champion. I beat y'all's hero Mystico in Arena, Mexico. I am a lucha legend. I'm a big star there in Mexico. While my bar is high. John Cruz, that's who it is. Anyway, he continues. You got a lot of potential, Bandito. And I respect that potential. That's why I brought out John Cruz to translate for me. So then John Cruz says pretty much what MJF said in Spanish, which I'm sorry, I don't understand. I never took Spanish as a second language in school. So at once John Cruz is done, MJF says, so professional of you to come to dump in Oklahoma to translate that. And Bandito, I have 6 of those dynamite diamond rings to my name, but I left them all in the back. And you know that ring doesn't belong to you. It's mine. So you better get ready for our match next week. You'll do the right thing, and I'll walk back and put you over to TK. And I'll put you over in 5 to 10 years now. And as John Cruz was going to translate, Bandito puts his hand over the microphone, takes it, and says, I can speak English, you stupid son of a bitch. So Bandito and MJF go face to face, ready to go. MJF with a low blow to the right to Bandito. MJF then forcefully takes the ring off of Bandito's finger, puts it on his own. John Cruz then holds Bandito for the shot. MJF goes for the ring shot. Bandito ducks it so that it hits John Cruz. Then as MJF is reacting, Bandito trips MJF into the ropes, hits a 21 plex on John Cruz first, then hits another one on MJF. And as they both roll to the outside, Bandito sees the AEW World title on the ground. He holds it up. Then he lays it back on the mat. But MJF grabs it and bails. So, interesting little build-up for next week. Got a bit more on the line than I thought would be. But, yeah, that match is going to be interesting. We then get one of the wildest Brody King hype videos of all time. Like, you had the most hardcore, like, death metal sounding music in the background, where he's saying stuff like, I'm clearly a monster, I'm ready to go for gold. And, yeah, it looks like we're going to get a Brody singles run, which I am definitely for. Lou said Brodito may be breaking up, because, the way it's looking, we might see King betray Bandito, which I kind of hope doesn't happen, because I absolutely love Brodito. They're a great team, and I hope they can stick together. So after that segment, we get our next match, as Timeless Toni Storm takes on Marina Shafir. And this was an interesting little back and forth between these two. One point, they're both on the outside. Then coming to ringside is Danny Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. They get back in. Shafir goes for a triangle choke, but Tony blocks it into a roll-up for 2. Then we see Shafir just knee Toni Storm in the face. Then they do the ballroom dancing that Cassidy and Timeless Toni Storm have been doing. Shafir goes for an elbow, that gets blocked. Then Shafir locks in another sleeper, does the dancing again. Shafir attempts an elbow that misses. Tony with a drop kick and then a hip attack. Shafir with a big boot. Then a headbutt, a roll-up attempt, only for 2. As Wheeler Yuta grabs the referee, pulls him out of the ring. The ref notices this, immediately calls for the disqualification. So your winner, via DQ, is Timeless Toni Storm. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed of the level of shenanigans. I'm happy that AEW doesn't do this on a more regular basis, so it's a bit more meaningful. Because post-match, Shafir immediately attacks Toni Storm. This brings out Mina Shirakawa and Luther, but Shafir pretty much solos them. At that point, Orange Cassidy's music hits. I saw him come down to the ring. I did not see Roderick Strong, but apparently he was out there. Making the save. Death Riders bail out. But at that point, Claudio Castagnoli is over the barricade. He rips his shirt. He's ready to go. He attempts to get in the ring, but the rest of the Death Riders hold him back until they make it back to the back. So, Claudio losing his cool a little bit. I'm not sure where this is leading to, but it's whatever it is, it's gonna be interesting. Anyway, then we go backstage to an interview with Pac, who's saying, I'm not here to oblige Darby Allin. I've already beaten him twice. Then Darby, as soon as he says that, Darby Allin walks up to him, says, I went through hell with all the Death Riders. I want you to put that final nail in the coffin. Pac says to Darby, I don't exist to pander to you. I'm out of here. So Pac goes to leave. Darby, then I guess off screen, uses a fire extinguisher to attack Pac, blinding him for a second. Darby then takes him down, drags him over by the door, threatening to close the door on Pac's leg, while screaming, give me this match or I'm going to break your leg. Give me the match. Give me the match. Then you hear Pac say, all right. So we're getting this match at Maximum Carnage. Excuse me. That honestly should be a really fun one. And then that leads us to our main event. Kind of. Because it is a lights out match. Meaning, it is not technically sanctioned by AEW. So this match, wins and losses do not matter. So in this match, we got the Ops. So that's Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs, which is the weirdest combination of the Ops I've ever seen, taking on Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. And they just immediately brawl. They use everything in their disposal. They use chairs. One point, Hook puts Swerve in the hardcore necktie, tosses him into the ring post. Swerve with a Death Valley driver onto Hobbs on the apron. At that point, Hangman grabs a chain, wraps it around his fist, and just starts whooping on Hook. Hobbs with a big old suplex on the apron. Then a suplex to Hangman through a table, only for a 2 count. One point, Hook grabs a chair, shoves it into the corner. Hobbs goes for a power slam that gets blocked. He gets pushed right into the chair. Then Swerve brings in a staple gun and starts stapling Hook everywhere, including in the family jewels. Then Hobbs with a gigantic power bomb. Then Hangman ends up with the staple gun, staples Hobbs right in the family jewels. Then Swerve with a shot with a big cooking pan. Then we see one of the wildest shots of the evening as Swerve and Hangman together go under the ring, bring out a pallet. Not just one or two, I think it's like 10 at most, of cinder blocks. So they get him in the corner of the ring. They're about to powerbomb Hook onto it, but Hobbs saves him with a couple of chair shots. Then Hobbs gets swerved, laying on top of the cinder blocks. Hobbs is about to go for a big splash, but Nana makes the save. Swerve goes for a suplex, that gets blocked. Hobbs goes for a big spine buster, that gets blocked. A couple of shoulders in the corner by Swerve. Big boot, some chair shots. Goes for a crossbody. It gets caught by Hobbs, who hits a world's strongest slam onto the cinder blocks. That only gets a 2. Hangman attempts the Deadeye. That gets blocked. Big old boot. Hangman goes for the buckshot lariat, but Hook grabs his leg. Hangman then goes after Hook for a second. This brings out the Ops Dojo members, which is just a whole bunch of extras. Comes down, beats up Hangman for a bit, rolls him back in the ring, just stomping him on the poor guy. Then Hook takes the chain, starts choking out Hangman with it. Banana gets back on the apron. Hobbs gets in his face. He throws his cup of coffee into Hobbs' face. Hangman then gets up, hits him with the chain a couple times. Fights off the Ops Dojo. Hits a big old suplex. Hobbs goes for an attack on, I think it was Swerve. Misses. Hits Hook. Hangman with a clothesline. Hits the block. Goes for the buckshot lariat. That gets blocked. Into a spinebuster by Hobbs for a 2 count. Swerve with a house call. Goes up top. Looks down. Readjusts to the outside where the rest of the Ops Dojo is. Hits a big Swerve stomp on the dojo. Hangman goes for a power bomb that gets blocked. Hangman then with a Deadeye. Swerve with a Swerve stomp immediately onto the cinder blocks. Hangman with a roll up for a 2 count. Hook locks in the Red Rum, but Hangman powers out. Hits a headbutt. Then Hangman wraps the chain around his fist. Hits him with it. And he takes the chain, wraps it around Hook's neck, tosses him over the top rope in like a choke. Hobbs with a house call to Swerve with the house call to Hobbs. Hangman with a buckshot lariat. before dumping Hook over the top rope. And I guess a submission where Hook taps out. So your winners are Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. Great little moment to finish the show. My only real issue, if I could have one for this show, is where we're going to go next for the Death Riders / Swerve and Hangman. Are Swerve and Hangman going to go for the tag titles? Are we going to see them work together with someone else for the trios belts? I'm not sure, but honestly, that was a crazy lights out match, highlighting a lot of the best qualities of AEW. So, yeah, that'll do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. So, schedule coming out this week. I'm going to have to change it up a little bit. First of all, still be covering NWA Power. Still will be covering AEW Dynamite. But on Thursday is where things get interesting. Because we got the debut episode of TNA Impact on the AMC channel. So, brand new channel. I finally have access to it. So, I am going to cover it. So, that review will be added to my Monday slot. At least until the end of the football postseason, where I can watch Collision regularly again. So, yeah, that'll do it for me. Hope you all enjoyed. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.